Hi, and welcome to Coach's Corner. This week we're talking Ponca City High School football. It's hard to believe, but we're halfway past the halfway point of the Ponca City High School football season. We've got week 6 coming up this week, and a season that is going by very quickly. Goes to week 6 at Sand Springs on Friday night for our Ponca City Wildcats. And if you were at Sullivan Stadium on Friday, you witnessed a very unusual night experience because our high school football game was cut short by the weather. And Coach, I know that everybody was disappointed that we couldn't play the whole game, but it was one of those events where safety was the first and foremost thing that I know you had to think of.
Yeah, we only got 2.5 quarters in, midway through the third. We knew there was a storm coming all night. We just didn't know when it was going to hit, what was going to be in there, and obviously it carried a lot of lightning in the storm. So, and looking back, the lightning did persist. The rain wasn't just, it came down for a little bit. Rain wasn't really too bad, but there was lightning and stuff throughout there that, metal stands, a bunch of lightning that could have caused some, concerns.
And it's not worth one person getting hurt. So the thing was, I guess if we would have waited, eventually that storm around midnight moved out. I know there were some schools that finished up and waited 2 or 3 hours. So I guess my question to you is, was that ever given some consideration?
Oh yeah. We I definitely thought about waiting it out. I mean, there was about a 10-minute period there we were going back and forth, what to do here, and we could and you're right, that could have been an option. We could have been in the locker rooms, it would have been, we could have waited in the locker rooms until it was clear to play, and both teams. Now fans and stuff, I don't know how many people would have stayed around for that deal, because it would have been later in the evening, but yeah, we could have finished up that.
The problem I guess I can see with that is that, you see players that maybe come off the field that are hurt that go back on, and they may wait 5 or 10 minutes. I can see a scenario where a team comes off the field and waits 2 or 3 hours and then goes back. Do you feel like, and you were a player and obviously as a coach, don't you feel that there's greater risk if guys go back on the field after a 2 or 3 hour break of maybe pulling a muscle, that type of thing?
Absolutely, yeah. We would have to re-warm up again. We'd have to at least do we'd have to have at least a 20, maybe even 30-minute warm-up session to make sure everybody is good to go. So, that you would have had that. I mean, there would have been, it would have been, because it ended up, lightning, because the lightning was in the area for so long that it would have been at least an hour and a half, 2 hour wait before we resumed play, and then you would have added a warm-up to that.
For those that aren't familiar, kids play football in rain all the time, and I'm sure there were some people that said, it's just raining. We play football in rain. The rain had nothing to do with it. You could play in heavy rains for that matter, but the lightning is what the safety issue is with. And the state's pretty clear on this, aren't they, Coach?
Sure.
That school officials and game officials, head coaches, when you're told that the lightning is within a certain distance of a stadium, then it becomes a different matter. It's just not the football game; it's the safety of everybody.
Sure, yeah. It's all lightning. You summed it up right. It's not the precipitation. It's the total lightning in the sky, and its frequency. The frequency you're seeing it with time in between, and how close it is. Yeah.
Well, with about 7 minutes to go in the third quarter of our ball game, with Ponca facing a 4th down and 1 from their own 45. That's when the game was stopped, and eventually the game was ended at that point. But for the first about 29 minutes of the football game, Coach, your team stood toe-to-toe with one of the best teams in the state of Oklahoma.
Yeah, we did. I mean, I was just so happy with our defense. They came out with so much fight in them, so much energy in them. And you could just see that they were ready to play tonight. They were ready to play. And I was so proud of those guys. I know we got 2 sacks, I think 2 interceptions, several quarterback hurries, and then I think 2 or 3 tackles for losses. So, we were making plays that we hadn't made before, and all season. And Wasso had to work. I mean, they had to drive the ball. It wasn't big, just. There was, don't get me wrong, there was a couple big plays they made, and credit to them. But on the most part, they they were having to drive the ball to score. I mean, and they had to fight and claw to get a score, and we held them to a lot of punts too. Offense was overall struggling. We couldn't pass the ball very well, but we did improve running the ball again, and the fact that we were running against Owasso and giving them some problems there with several drives. But our defense, if our defense plays like that, we'll at least have a chance to be in every game.
You've got a young team, a team that has struggled and are trying to continue to not only build their Friday night play, but build some confidence. I tell you, the work that you and your assistants do Monday through Thursday, I think is something that is not getting the attention that it probably deserves, and I know you'll deflect, Coach, some of that to your assistant coaches. But can you imagine that the work that goes into continuing to keep everybody motivated to get ready to put the helmets on Friday and to go out there and give the best effort? But don't you feel like when it was all said and done, Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, at some point this weekend, that the positive things that you could take out of that game probably outweighed any quarter and a half that you didn't get to play?
Oh yeah. The kids, because of how the season's gone on Friday nights this year, it's been rough. And you're right, it's hard to motivate. Sometimes it's hard to, what are you going to say to the guys? That's what I mean, not motivate. The guys have been motivated all year long. It's just it's hard to say. What do you say to these guys when you're getting walloped a couple of times the way we have? And there's a kind of a dejected feeling when you leave the locker room on a Friday night. This was quite the opposite. I know we did lose the game, and 24-0. But the way we had played against Owasso defensively, and a couple things we did offensively, the guys left the locker room feeling really. I mean, they had a good feeling about themselves because they know where Owasso's program's at. Like you said, they're one of the they're one of the big four Tulsa suburbs that put a lot of money and resources and have a lot of things going for them in their program. And we battle with them. We frustrate them, and our guys really. They knew it deep down, and they knew they had played well, and there was a great feeling in the locker room afterwards.
Going into the game, Owasso had a 1-3 record, and we all knew that 1-3 record was only because of the competition they had played.
Sure.
Coach, they had two defensive ends that I called their names an awful lot, including James Willis, a guy who I'm sure number 5 showed up an awful lot in your film review. But Owasso, they have good game plan. They're going to be one of those teams, Coach, that's going to be challenging for quarter and semifinal berths. I mean, that's one of the best teams we're going to see all season long.
Absolutely. Yeah, they were. They were. They're going to be well coached, like you said. Their DNs now. Number 94 was hurt. He's been their starter. Number 45, their middle linebacker, was also hurt. So that did help. But they got enough guys and they got enough players. You're right. Their DN, James Willis, is a great player. And you see their tight. On offense, you see their tight ends. He's going to Texas San Antonio, play for Larry Coker. They got a number 7 with their defensive back is just committed to Tulsa. They got big old receiver. You could just see there were some positions they really looked good in, and so they got talent on that ball club. And again, our guys battled them. I mean, our DB stayed with them. Our linebackers and D-line caused problems for them throughout the game. And the effort was there. And like I said, they did score points, but how they scored was so much different than what we've seen in the previous 4 weeks.
Week 6 takes us to Sand Springs, where the Wildcats will take on the Sandites, and this is another real good football team we see on our schedule. Very capable, and they've got a quarterback that has already thrown for over 1,700 yards. Coach, it'll be a tough ball game on Friday night.
They definitely throw the ball. They're not afraid to throw it deep. We got a quarterback. The quarterback, again, he was a returning starter, part of that 8-3 team a year ago for Sand Springs, they had a really good season, and they are a 4 wideout football team. Again, the quarterback, you got to watch him for his scrambling ability, is scrambling and then throwing it deep. So our DBs are going to be challenged to have to stay on their guy, possibly for several seconds, because this guy can move around the pocket, and then they do like to throw it deep, later on. So, they run trick plays. I mean, we're also going to have to work real hard because a lot of their touchdowns have been off some trickery, and we're going to have to be aware there. Other than that, though, we feel we match up good with them. Defensively, we've already been tested this year by some defenses, so we feel like this is an opportunity where we finally offensively can gain some confidence. But Sand Springs is a program that's had a good year, and they have some wins already this season, so they're going to be a tough team, and for us, we're looking for our first win, so we will be hungry. We've got to bring our A game this week, and if we do, we'll have a shot.
Sand Springs, kind of like Ponca City, goes through cycles, and they're going through one of their up cycles right now, where they've got a good quarterback, but they've got some other good players, Division I recruited players as well. But in our district, it's a wacky district, isn't it, Coach? We've got 6 teams that are 1-1 in district play, which is really good for us because, with the exception of Union, nobody's really sprinting out there so far. So our best thing is to maybe come up with a couple of wins and hope everybody just keeps beating everybody in our district.
Yeah. I mean, if like I said, we got an important, I would say, 4-week run here. That hey, we can still make this 2013 into something special. Obviously, you're coming at, it's been tough, this so far in 2013, but we can, we have a chance to really turn 2013 into something special here, and it's very possible with how we played the other night. If we can build on that momentum, now offensively, we're going to have to turn the corner at some point, and hopefully it's this week. And if we do, when we keep the same defensive intensity and such, then you never know. We could make a little run. Yep.
We'll be on the Cimarron Turnpike, the short drive to Sand Springs on Friday night at 7 o'clock as Ponca takes on the Sand Springs Sandites. We hope that you'll be careful traveling over. And again, after that, the Wildcats have 3 of their last 4 regular season games on their home field. Friday night, Ponca City and Sand Springs, 7 o'clock kickoff at Memorial Stadium. For Coach Allen, I'm Phil Turney on Coach's Corner.